Yeah, we're going to deal with quite much to do with the economy based on statements made by the central bank governor and a statement made by the finance minister. And finally, we're going to touch on the relationship or the between the chief of staff and the president. And I will try and experiment allowing 20 minutes of Q&A so that some of your questions can be answered in the comment box. Okay. Thank you very much. Today is the 8th of December 2025. Time just gone about 12 minutes to 8 o'clock in the evening in Birmingham, England. We start with the central bank governor, Mr. Boisedi. I know many people are enraged, and rightly so, for the statement made by Boisedi and two main statements for that matter. But that's not going to be what we are going to concentrate on, but they are very important to address as well. Where he really lost it and became very arrogant and acted very stupidly. I'm not insulting him. He acted very stupidly to point to a journalist and to ask, trying to silence that journalist and ask, emphasizing that his central bank, I know people try to take it differently, and he would kick the journalist out of the conference. That exposed something first. That anger. Where is that anger coming from? For being held accountable? That's what it is. He's angry for being held accountable, and we'll get to that. But to expose his behavior as stupid is the lack of professionalism. Even as the governor of central bank, ethics would dictate. It's one of the most senior institutions, the most critical institution for that matter if it comes to our economy. That holds our fiscal policies and our monetary policies sound and help to create an environment that development can ensure. People that held that office before, from TGG Senghor to SSCC to TGG Senghor to Mr. Njai, it's not that it's the absence of social media, but if they had acted any wave or form, it would have been captured. And what we had then, you call it only newspapers, but those newspapers were very effective in connecting what was happening. At that time and age, people knew. People held the PPP accountable, exposed them, and he have referred to Asantix and others who have made sure they did that. Forced the government officers, ministers, to take them to court, and they exposed the entire government for that sake. For him to behave that way, to be that enraged for disturbance or whatever it is, if he was professional, he could just have looked at his press officer, and the press officer would have known what that signals for the press officer to intervene out of camera and approach the journalist, and that would have been dealt with without him exposing his frustration due to the accountability held on him. His frustration coming out stupid as a person that's not taught, that's not in the position of leadership, would have behaved. It's a disgrace to the institution itself. And it should be a disgrace to the family he's brought him up, if that's where he behaved in office. Can you tell us how does he behave with the wife and kids? We know that the friends have noticed. Then I started to hold him accountable. Friends he has, whom I hold in high regards. We had a debate about, oh, it's not like him. It's not like him. But today they all acknowledge to say then power have exposed who Boasedi is, really is. Power have exposed him. These people knew him from childhood. Some knew him from time of the central bank. Some knew him when he was in the IMF and now. He have exposed that by that anger, outburst, that the accountability people, especially online. We know he have bought many aspects of the media. We are not stupid. We know. That's why he have a friend in media. But kudos to our friend and colleague, Mr. Taylor, for holding him accountable and interjecting where it is necessary to point to him of his lack of professionalism in holding that high office, in holding that important institution, the nerve center of our economy. For him to behave that way, it exposes a lot. His lack of courage, his lack of humility, and humanity for that matter. That's where the next point we're going to. He said, Boasedi said, oh, in those days, when we have few newspapers, either he was ignorant at that time to not know how effective those newspapers are, or he's so much depressed for the amount of accountability on him because of its amount of blunder he's becoming and the criminal act he's been involved in. It's not because of the surname. It's not because of his appearance. It's not because of his background. It's not because of anything else. There's no prejudice to this. It's because of the office he holds and the way and manner he's behaving in public. This is why we are holding him accountable. Before that, bro, my online. Before that, nobody bothered about him. Nobody knows him. But it's interesting that he went on to say, he let the cat out. Or if I Google myself, all I see is negative. My friend, then look inside of what you are doing. If you Google yourself, everything that comes out is negative, and it with substance. You have never come out to address it sufficiently, and it will stay there. This is the tool we have today. You can go and buy individuals. You can go and buy newsprints or whatever it is to do your PR. But people have the independence, have the ways and means to express themselves and to do that very, very, very effectively. So that I'm making you sweat. That's what he pointed out. If I Google myself, this is what comes out. The history of the bank. The history of the bank. From when the dictator took over, with the series of governors he has, they have all behaved the same way. We have, we have, had the revelations in the Jani commissions. But I am not excusing their behavior. But those people might say that it was because of the pressure we face, because of the fear of our life. They might give those excuses. We are not saying those excuses are valid enough to not hold them accountable. We still hold them accountable. But let me note one thing. I don't know the background of every one of them. But for Abdul Koli, I think it's Abdul Koli or Koli, one of the governors, the last governor. As far as I know, and people that know him never found anything that he acquired not to be justifiable for the office he held. In a sense, he might have been reckless. He might have been operating under fear, or whatever this case is, to allow the dictator to run the bank as his private bank. That might be it. But Bois does not have that excuse, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Now, for Bois to say, expose himself, and come out, lack of professionalism, to show that he is in the condition of depression, and because of the accountability online, then he further exposes his stupidity. Yes, people might think people are no, he is stupid. Regardless of his education, regardless of his career and everything, what he has manifested in front of the public is stupid. And I'll get to that. He went on to say, and this is someone, student of economics, I believe, to turn around to say, oh, nowadays, or even those in America are better. Do you know why he said those in America are better? Because part of the looting he's been doing with Barrow, he have bought a mansion and he have furnished that mansion, something he never acquired when he was a staff of the IMF living in Virginia, I believe, in a small apartment. Then he's traumatized by living in a small apartment in America. Probably that's the reason. But I'll give you more. Because he have just exposed something I bet in his own comfort you asked, he would have answered it differently, but in an outburst, he have just exposed his stupidity. First, if you understand the European culture and American cultures are completely different. Yes, now part of the European culture is becoming Americanized. From the eating out in fast foods, or in fast foods, from the the condition of putting themselves into credit by buying big houses, by buying big vehicles, by showing affluence. That's an American culture. That's one reason to address. But the most profound part of it is for an educated person to determine someone's character by how much that person acquires. How much that person acquires. He could not question. He did not go to address the allegations. But he chose to go to personally trying to find something to attack those people. He could not even go and challenge them intellectually. Probably he's fearful, knowing that he is already, feeling guilty because of the way and manner these people have attacked what he have done, not attack him personally. And Mr. Sedi, we know a lot personally, especially right now, but we are not. We are not to your level. We are not to your level. If it comes to character assassination, if we get to your personal life, you will mob the front. But, we are not to that level. We are above that level. We are above that level. For him to measure someone's by saying, oh, the size of the house. How come size of the house? Or the material, or anything else. Just expose his lack of humility, if he had acquired it. But his failure of his moral compass, not to able to evaluate people for the character they have. The most landed scholars are not rich. To acquire wealth, it's a good thing. But to acquire it in the rightful way and manner, profiteering in the rightful way of manner, I'm not going into religion, even in conservative corners, there's a social responsibility that people take. And there's a humility that keep them to make it about themselves, not about others. It's only the far right conservative that will look down to the people that have been exploited, or people that choose to live a life differently, and attack them for not their materialistic mindsets. It exposed the person he is. It exposed his mind of poverty. You know, some people, poverty affects them. Instead of making them, inspire them to acquire wealth or to do well or to impact society, to fight against that condition of poverty that are unto others, because of their experience. That's what people do. They go into governance, they go into politics, they go into anything they learn to make sure they change society, they impact society. That's what educated people do. That's what civilized people do. That's people with morality. That's what they do. But poverty affects certain people in a way. It's to how much they can acquire, regardless how they do it, regardless what they do in the midst of it, just to be able to show off. It's not about their satisfaction, about anything else. It's about how that's why they keep on acquiring, and they keep on doing it in any way or form in order to acquire that, regardless of what who they affect, or how it affects society. Or how it affects society. Because of that poverty of mind. If it's very certain that someone like him doesn't have what it takes to do something right and make something out of it. If it's not for government employment, he has never proven himself to achieve anything out of government scholarships or government appointment. People have achieved out of government handouts or scholarships or government appointment. They did it very well. They did it very well. For someone like him, knowing what he's doing to the economy, this is what we are going to address later. Knowing what he's doing to the economy, how he's causing more poverty among our society, how much he's fueling crime, how much he's letting people die in hospitals, making Gambians lose dignity. Gambia becomes a begging nation. Gambia was not rich, but one richness we have was our culture, that we don't beg. We used to take it off our cousins in Senegal. They say that the little you have, you go to Senegal. At that time, we take as a begging nation. They said for Loma Baye. A gym, they said, Digma Baye. Or they say, Loma India. They come and visit you, they say, Luma Yubale. This was the narrative. Gambia was shy. Even your family members would be having difficult for them to ask for help. But because of this, continuity from the dictatorship to now, making the society poor and keep the wealth, most of it acquire wealth illegally within 1% to touch the rest of this thing, for them to be beggars so that you can control them. That's the system they continue, and he is in the heart of it as the central bank governor. If he have no shame and lost morality completely, to be driving around and seeing what's in the country, knowing that he adds to it, or he played a major part in that, for having no shame acquiring that wealth, knowing how the wealth was acquired, and going around to be proud in front of your wife, to take that money and everything, privileges and everything, to put it in your family and be proud of that. That's how low he is. Some of us would die rather to steal to feed our family or to give them any other life. We would die to clothe our wives or our families or feed our extended family. We'll die to see do anything that will impact on society in a negative way, that would lead people to die, people to suffer, people to live in indignity. This is how we measure ourselves. not how much we have. I have no problem with people who want to live an affluent lifestyle and they work hard to do it. I have friends, people very close to me, whom I would pick out of Gambians to see that they are one of the best of Gambians, but you don't even know how much they have. You don't even know what lifestyle they have because they are not plastering out there. They are not going out there, to show off, to attack people for not acquiring what they have acquired. And these people I know have worked, that have educated themselves, have worked very hard, have been disciplined to acquire them. They are doing something they enjoy. They are traveling around the world, visit places, do things that they want to enjoy, living in big houses and everything else. But I can tell you, those are the people I will run to. Whenever other people reach out to me and I cannot help, they are the people that will help. In all forms, be education, be shelter, be any other way. Those are the people I don't hesitate to go to ask for them to help others. But I know they are doing it for others without people knowing. They have humility, they have humanity in them. And I know they are just people. I know how they acquire their wealth. I know how much they work, how much they try to educate themselves. And one of those people decided to leave the source of the Gambia. His background as a lawyer, he said, if I stay in this country for what lifestyle I want, I will do wrong. But I will not. He decided to leave the source of the Gambia, to restart again with his law degree, from leaving the bar, the Gambian bar and everything, and went and built himself. Today he's enjoying as much as he can, and there's nothing pointing to he will do anything, and he still holds to those values. Those are the people we are proud of. We know of people, you call them middle class and all of stuff. They cannot even be termed as wealthy or rich in that sort of manner. They are very wealthy in the sense that what deprived them from accumulating wealth is because of how much wealth distribution they engage in. That's what they believe. That's their faith. That's their humanity. That's what an educated person does. There's nothing wrong in working hard. If you aspire to make have wealth, if you aspire, if you have worked hard and got the education, and that education brings you wealth, that's nothing wrong with it. You have, in fact, to be celebrated, for others to be inspired. But for someone who steals from us, someone who mismanages, someone who helps a government to mismanage, you have nothing to shame us. You are shamed already. You are garbage already. There's nothing that comes out of that person apart from stench of filth. We are stronger than that. We are stronger than that. Probably took him to almost 60 or already in his 60s to acquire something like that illegally. If we wanted to do something illegal, to acquire something more than that, we could have done it. We have opportunities, we have chances, we walk away. We walk away. What we are proud of, it's what we do that impacts society positively. Positively. And to point to his ignorance, stupidity, because I know he knows this. Apart from the culture of America and Europe, and again, the environment, things are different. Price houses in Europe, or generally in the world, is more determined by location than size. This is something I know he knows. But he was so frustrated for the accountability, he became stupid. And he spoke out stupid. House prices? A garage in London? A garage in London? A garage in New York? might be far more expensive than mansions in certain cities or states in America. Then to point to people how farming houses, apart from the knowing the culture of Europeans, apart from the aristocrats, and aristocrats, what do they live in? They live in cultured property, something that have sentimental values, something that they inherited, something it's just crazy that a central bank governor cannot. But I know he knows all this. But and kudos to people that are holding this government accountable. Just prove that we are doing a good job, and we are motivated to continue doing a good job. If a competent government comes over, these people would be having their tails between their legs to face the law, and they'll be singing a different hymn sheet. We know who they are. They are not brave. They are cowards. That's why they behave the way they are. They are weak. That's why they become who they become. They're not ashamed for knowing what they put in that country to. They have no sense of pride because of their mindset of poverty, poor mindset. They cannot look to their ancestors to be something that the ancestors will be out there to be proud of. They don't have that mindset. They cannot have that mindset. They have a mindset of poverty. They cannot look at the conditions of that country and where this country is and think of what legacy they should leave for the generation to come. They cannot think like that. For them, what makes them resolved is what they can show in material terms, not what they impact. For Boisedi, you expose yourself for behaving this way. But let's come to the nitty-gritties. Let's come to the nitty-gritties. It was important to address those points. We should not go quiet. We needed to respond to him intellectually, not to go low to his standards. We could have. And the family would not be proud. But just leave it to that. How did Boisedi come on to become a governor of Central Bank? It is not because of his past experience working at the Central Bank. It's not because of his experience working at the IMF or coming back. Not absolutely. When he came back back to the country. We know the conditions he left behind in America. We are not going to go there. We know the conditions you came back to. But we know how much you had to be polishing Mamburenja's boots with your tongue. No wonder filth will come from that mouth. And show the obedience that you are ready to do anything to be part of that country. When the previous governor of Central Bank, Ibrahim Jammeh, or I forgot, Bakari Jammeh, I think, refuses. One, Barrow directed a so-called investor who was a scammer for sovereign guarantee. That person promising to bring an investment of $1 billion. Barrow was advised by the then finance minister Sane, what's his name again? Amadou Sane, that they have conducted a due diligence on this person, but he's not fit for purpose, and the president should not entertain the person. The president at that time, and as still now, as he have proven, wanted to be rich come May what. Entertain it and bypass the advice from the finance minister and went to approach the central bank. And the central bank governor distracted, delayed, put every measures to make sure that transaction was not honored by the government of the Gambia. When Wage, the Senegalese Wage, and some of his counterparts from Cameroon, that part of the continent, Congo area, bankers wanted to buy Mega Bank. They wanted to buy Mega Bank. They held the meeting. The governor again, I think it's Jammeh, came down. They invited, and he advised President Barrow, sir, we should find another way of doing this if we want to sell, but we should not make an arrangement with entity. There's a lot involved in selling a bank. We cannot just make arrangements and sell a bank. That was the time they felt it's enough. They have to remove Bakar Jammeh. You help me out, the governor then. And the candidate already lined up was Boasedi for the obedience he has shown for corruption. That time he was serving as Mambure's permanent secretary. We all know, what they are. Around that time, the same thing is proven with the monies taken from Megabank and literally handed over to Amadou Sane, Barrow's nephew. The Republic have published it. We have seen it in the and it's going to come in audit reports if they allow it. Because now we don't have confidence in that Auditor General's office. We have seen that evidence. Guess what? Down the line, after stripping the bank, putting the bank in a worse position, which is easier now to determine to sell, for the international community to allow them to sell in the way and manner they did, guess who they sell it to? The same group, Congolese Cameroonians, bankers that came with Wage. This is what he allowed. But since he came as the central bank governor, the scandals are numerous, and none of them have been dealt with, competently or judiciously to determine the facts, because of the entire government systems are part of the problem. The former IGP, Sanyang, Ablasada, Boaseri, and all of those are involved with the money laundering going on in that country with the cabal. Because of the cabal is the center of NPP, and because of NPP that he is in position. That's why he's frustrated. People keep on asking why the jealousy. If they are doing this transaction, they have to use the dalasi and convert it, because the money is not staying in the country. It's not staying in the country. Go and find out how do you know why this foreign, most of these foreign microfinance and foreign bureaus are still in business and very lucrative? It's because of the condition created. How much they exporting money, exchanging the dalasi. That's why one of the reasons is losing value. The second reason is the contracts being given to foreigners, and the foreigners make profit. On those profit will be converted to foreign currency taken out. Even in independence or even celebrations in the Gambia, we have to import Senegalese contractors, and we have to pay them in foreign currency. We're giving contracts to most of, security port at the airport. We all know how corrupt that is. The profits repatriated. And most of these people would have to put in, their monies out of the country because they know they can wake up one day and there's a change of government, which the condition they have created. That's why they are buying properties everywhere. They are running businesses everywhere, be at the ports, everywhere else. The Turkish, been given contracts. Everybody's been given contracts, and all of those people numerate their money back to foreign currency and export it. And that's the central bank we have. We remember $100 million intervention, or sort of given as a guarantor for the importation of commodities. Who were that given to? The same patrons of the NPP, and he facilitated. Even Saul Fraser, who is into real estate, tell me was given part of it toward import rice, and he could not deal with the importation because he have no expertise and he have no means to do it because of his affair to Barrow. The scandals of fraud, even with the Russian petroleum scandal, for central bank going out there to slap the risk of these two banks that were involved, it shows you the lack of seriousness because he can't. Because the First Lady is involved in that transaction, Barrow is involved in those transactions, then all the other players have to be treated linearly and the case buried and forgotten. Any bank in any civilized country behave in way in that manner, you'll be punished. You pay fines that make you not to think about doing it again. But that's Boas Edis prevail. He went on to try to open a development market within the central bank, something never heard of in any serious country. But he is looking at countries that have tried this and in most cases failed. But because of the political, the last governor of Nigeria, I forgot the name, was getting into the same practice during Buhari's. Guess what? He is facing trials now. And these had footprints, he's following. He lied about creating, how to call it, creating a stock market and all those nonsense. All the experts we asked say that it's not realistic unless you want to launder money. Those capital markets are not realistic at this moment. Experts, independent, we spoke to the point of, I forgot the author, a friend of mine purchased a book written by a competent author talking about capital markets in Africa. Still now, he lacks the capacity. The banks lack the capacity. The economy lack the capacity. The regulations and everything that needed is absent. But for him, he needed to create it so that they can get into their money laundering schemes, so that they can have a way of getting in out these monies. That's what it is. For him, going out to the bond market, trying to get, diaspora bond market or whatever it is, it fell face down because of this capacity he lacks. Look at the way you're treating the diaspora. Thinking that you can divide the diaspora, say, oh, at least those in America have bigger houses. How pathetic for an economist. Can even tell the difference? No, he can't tell the difference. But he's just been childish, been stupid, trying to get something one back on to people who are holding it accountable. That's what it is about. That's what it is about. They went to America to say that they want to build a road through just one, to behind the airport. Now they're coming to the diaspora to get that money. And all that was, another plan of that is so that they can have a political project and Barrow can be seen, or Barrow have built this, even though the money is coming from the diaspora. But who is stupid in the diaspora to put their money in a contract run by this Gambia government? Who would have confidence to put their investment in this Gambia government, their pensions and all this stuff, when we have so much of potential here to invest, to guarantee it, or to where the risks are managed, than to give it these corrupt people. It's not that we don't want to invest in the Gambia. They are incompetent. They are corrupt. We cannot trust them. We have no confidence in them. This is why they fail flat. This is contrary to Senegal. Senegal have been using their diaspora now to even avoid going to the capital markets, outside Eurobonds, minimizing the amount they're going to ask for. And whenever they ask, I think this is the second round, they get oversubscribed. Anytime they ask, Senegal get oversubscribed. You think Gambia would not have done that? They would, but they lack the confidence in this government. He came with this nonsense when he was lobbying to become president, believing that Barrow would not be running for second term. When he had the likes of Alkali Conte from Turkey and others playing their tribal cards, they said that they want a Mandinka candidate from NPP, competing with Sinija, competing with Ahmadba, competing with Mohammed Jah. They went to him and he started his plans. He said social responsibility for a central bank, a regulator. I'm going to fix barracks. I'm going to fix police lines. I'm going to fix the hospital. A bank? Your core responsibilities you are neglecting. All that was for political project, starting to project herself to be likable, try to win confidence and everything else. At the same time, he was in cahoot with the likes of Lamin Sedikan, who is associated to drug dealing, to the likes of the former IGP, now the Interior Minister Ablai Sanyan. Do you know some of these people are bidding on contracts just to win the contract so that they can use the drug money to launder their money? Are you aware that he is aware? Central Bank Governor. He is aware of every money laundering going in that country. He would have addressed the banks involved, the financial institution involved. We have a very sound money laundering act, but it would never work because of the entire governance system are part of the money laundering. It's part of the NPP government administration. They tried that. Where did they get it? And for the allegations he's talking about, of that person who was intercepted with $35,000 and stuff like that, he thinks people are stupid. That person's father have talibis. Just ask what happened in Magal, what happened in Gamos. If they send $35,000, whatever, if they have sent it from the diaspora to bureaus, financial bureaus, they are not going to pay them out dollars. That's a lie. And to say that he's a private citizen after war, that's a lie. There are certain job descriptions. If you are in it, your responsibility does not end at the close of office. your integrity matters. The trust and confidence we should have in bankers, their integrity matters, whether the business they're doing is directly linked to the bank or not, especially the central bank. For someone that have access or walking around the vaults or doing those sort of handling, and you telling us, oh, they are private citizens after work, and you think that Gambians are stupid. No, you just expose yourself. We know that the investigation was not competent. There are so much implications in that. Everything was killed off. Even for the 115 million. You see, he is bringing the argument that, oh, if 150 million came to the bank. But people are not even pointing out the physical cash might have presented in the bank. What they are saying that there were allegations involving, and the paper trail is there, involving members of the bank in dealing with someone with a questionable character, bringing the bank into disrepute. Instead of investigating, nobody said the money went there. Some of these things are scam. We have seen a private citizen sold a state airport in Nigeria. Did he have access to own the airport? No. But fraudsters will do that. But if in everything, whatever the case, your staff were involved, that was enough to pull them out and to protect the integrity of the institution. But you come in with the excuse that, oh, the physical evidence was not there. If the physical evidence was there, we would have known. People are not talking about that physical evidence. People are talking about the allegation that it happened. Some of the people mentioned took part. You have to clear them. You have to clear them. A competent, but no, the investigation. When the head of the investigation is part of the corruption of Lysaina. Head of the police was part of the corruption. They have companies together. They operate together. And that head of police now, the IGP, is connected to the drug cartel as well. Connected to the central bank governor. You see the problems we have? And we wonder why things are not working. Let's come to another big thing before we move on. The Central Bank of the Gambia, we have shared part 1 of the article, and part 2 of the article, there's a part 3. I just do a brief on these articles. After the rude Central Bank Governor, Boisedi, gave an arrogant press release, a CBG whistleblower approached the Open Gambia platform to expose Governor Sedi corrupt dealings involving the president and the president's nephew, Amadou Sani, again. This is another one in the process, and this is election year. They're trying to get money from the central bank for elections, and at the same time, keeping the president richer. Richer. They cannot deny this fact. The first shot fired from the whistleblower is a question directed to Governor Sedi after the governor threw disgusting jabs at the Gambian diaspora, especially those living in Europe. The central bank whistleblower question. Well, let Bois tell us how he was able to fund his large mansion purchase in the U.S. when just before 2016 he was living in what he called a small apartment in Maryland during his time as an IMF staff member. You see, this is why he's obsessed with big apartments. Finally, he have to come into government in order to access that. It went on. That's part 2. Let me Just a minute. I've got it here somewhere. The Governor Central Bank. Let me go for the part 2. I'll find part 1. Now I have to do the part 1 first to make it more sense. Part 3. Let me just go to Facebook. It will be quicker to get it from the Facebook instead of the draft section. Okay, that's it. It was posted yesterday. The whistleblower exposes Governor Boasedi election support for Barrow. The capital, the central bank files. The Section 83 exposed the central bank crisis series part 1. Central Bank Act violated Section 83, ignored in dividend transfer of the dividend when it shouldn't be. There's a particular section of the law that governs the central bank to say no, no. In order to do this, you have to go to Parliament and change that law to allow you to do it, but he will ignore it to please Barrow. Section 83 of the Central Bank of the Gambia Act was designed to protect the national economy from political misuse of public funds. It's clear and explicitly prohibit the central bank from paying any dividend to the government until 30 years consolidated bonds created from Arrears to Mohammed Bazi and commercial banks forced exposures during Jammeh has been fully repaid both principal and in interest. These bonds were created in a way to help the economy sustain, and this act is there to prevent any dividend be paid out until the bonds have been cleared. Bonds that were in core to NAWEC, bad loans to NAWEC, in core by bad banking exposures by the banks, to the extent that the entire money are paid and interest are paid before the bank can pay dividend to government. This was an agreement and a law to protect it. This provision was enacted to prevent the central bank from falling victim to reckless government borrowing and interference. It is the firewall that protects the dalasi, the banking sector, and the country financial stability. This is what it should be doing. This is what it should be doing, but he ignored it, or planned to ignore it. Yet, according to the President Chief of Staff and President's Affairs Minister M.O.K. Sise, in a recent interview with iAfrica TV, the central bank was invited alongside the Attorney General to negotiate the payment of 1.2 billion in dividends to the government. Elections. The Justice Minister is an advisor to the President or the government, but they propose laws, but laws are made in Parliament. They cannot change laws on their own. They have to go to Parliament to do it. But why? Why this government is spending as there's no tomorrow? We have seen the illegal budget lines created at the presidency for the First Lady and the President. We all know all this money is to be stolen or to be used as for their war chest to come in elections. That's not enough. They want 1.2 billion. They are not looking for 1.2 billion to put on poverty alleviation or others. No, absolutely. It is to fund again so-called interventions for whatever is to try to control or whatever inflation or nonsense prices, but for who? Amadou Sane. And who is Amadou Sane? The president's nephew. This is all they are about. How to make money illegally, and Gambians suffer. It's for Gambians now to wake up. If Section 83 prohibited dividend transfer, what legal authority permits the new payment? What legal authority? It's not there. It continued to say, the contradiction exposes what many now describe as the arrogance of Governor Boasedi, a governor who have allegedly promised to assist President Barrow in securing his election campaign, even by violating the Central Bank Act and the existing IMF agreements. We'll get to the IMF. We all see what is happening in Senegal. If Gambians think that the IMF, World Bank are going to be salvaging, you become independent. You will never see a client that take a prostitute out of the markets. They keep the prostitute so that they can continue to return to that prostitute. And coming election, last 2021 election, Boasedi have disposed personally from his ill-gotten gain almost $1 million around Combo just to support the president, because they would do anything to stay in power, knowing that after this government, any government, that competent government come, they belong to Barrow, and everything is stripped off from them. This is why now they buy big houses, they doing investment outside the country so that they can elope, just as we see in Senegal, and go to stay and enjoy their ill-gotten wealth. But we'll see. To make the politically motivated cash flow possible, the governor has pushed for a new development financial window that would give the government access to central bank funds whenever it falls short of cash. These funds will ultimately flow into procurement arrangement that enrich President Barrow and Amadou Sane. That's Amadou Sane, the president's nephew. If the governor believes he can break the law in the name of political loyalty, then he must explain that to the Gambian people, rather come out to insult Gambians into collective intelligence, trying to play divisive or distraction to insult the diaspora. The central bank was a center of corruption during the Jammeh's era. We all know what happened under Amadou Koli and Benjamin Kamara. Gambians will not tolerate that era return with new face and greater arrogance. As I said, I am not vouching for Amadou, how to call it? Koli, I don't even know his first name, the former governor. He has failed his duties, responsibility, and everything you call it. He has to be held accountable, but the conditions he was completely different from Boasedi. Boa is doing this just for greed because his benefits. And this Governor Koli was not known to be flamboyant. He's not known to acquire wealth that are questionable. Probably fear and the lack of courage led him to allow the practice that ensued in the bank. But he's not known to be in the likes of Boasedi. This is just an example. But they are serious. We could have gone through. But we have all the areas to talk about. That's why we want to move to the other points. And the other points in this are very similar to what we are discussing with Boa. The only difference, as far as we know, the finance minister made an announcement about this Turkish Karpower Arrears, or so-called Arrears. We've been working on this since yesterday. And we have we are working on this. We have so much of information regarding this mysterious areas that the people is auto are denying that they are owed this money. Okay, I got it. After denying that all this money, I'm just going to touch on the bit that will deal with the the 1 point, how to call it, 9.6, is it 9.6, 1 minute, deal with the 9.6 area, $9.6 million Arrears. Just a minute, okay. About the 19.6 Arrears. Inshallah, we are going to publish series of articles to explain the genesis from the Karpower deal itself, how President Barrow have been benefiting from this deal, and how this $19.6 million they're trying to siphon away, we can say, allegedly, come up. The minister came out with a statement that from the money coming from this World Bank, again, this is what I'm saying, the World Bank is involved. How can the World Bank not see this if they are monitoring the programs they have in the Gambia? Either the staff monitoring team are corrupt, or in fact might be the needs that World Bank need just to hold us. There are no conspiracies. Even former staff will tell you, they came out and spoke about what the World Bank, IMF, or these Barrow institutes represents. Now, the finance minister came out and claimed that almost $20 million are owed to Karpower for the last 3 months they've given services to the Gambia before they left. You'll be interested to know why they left. Now, the Turkish ambassador came out to say, no, I said Karpower, Turkish company said, all the money have been paid. Now, the finance minister and the government would start to come, no. Yeah, we paid that. But we took it from somewhere. They did not tell you where they took that from, the money they paid, but so that when the World Bank money comes in, we'll plug that gap. Now, just common sense here. Was the finance minister incompetent in presenting the budget? Not to point to the fact that it's a fact, to point to, because that almost 20 million will be taken from the central the World Bank intervention to replace money taken from a particular budget line, and that money that was taken for the particular budget line was money borrowed to pay the Karpower company. Can they say that? Can they say that? And if the government owes Karpower almost 20 million, the government were not able to pay. Now, that's why when they applaud, we are going to electrify the whole nation. It's not economically viable. It's political. These are one of the reasons. There are many reasons. But the economics of it are one of the reasons that NAWEC would not be solved. They will always depend on interventions. It's not a sound business practice. Everything they do is either political or for financial corruption gain. Common sense. And when we published these articles, you will see these points, facts raised in those articles, and we'll come back and we'll talk about NAWEC, these deals that Barrow have, benefited, and for the soul of their making a generational wealth. Now, he did not tell us the budget line they took it from. And common sense, if any, go and look at all the government budget lines. If any of those budget lines would be missing $20 million, the services from that department will stop. 20 million taken from any of the budget lines, the services will stop or be severely affected. And we have not seen that evidence because we know the services are poor as they used to be. Getting worse, but I don't think it's because of any particular, because of so-called 20 million taken out of there. This is something we know, or something we are competently asking the questions. Does it make sense what the minister said? Was it a deliberate misstep? Or it was trying to present, expecting Gambians not to diligently listen and to find out the facts, taking Gambians for granted. Let's see what we have from the State House itself. And as I said, I'm just presenting the part of it. The overview, just an overview covering the almost $20 million. But how most of it came about will be published first, and will intervene. The contact said the amount of about 19 million is between CD Keta, that's the finance minister, Barrow, and Nani Suwareh, and a few others at NAWEC. It's between them. It's between the finance minister, between the energy minister, who was the managing director of NAWEC, Nani Suwareh, and others involved with NAWEC. Few others are involved in that. CD plan to create a fictitious procurement and transfer them to Barrow and his business associates later next year in the gist of reimbursement for payment already made to Karpower and the settlement of Arrears on advances made to Karpower. This competent authority person, I know, and this bit I have enough time to look at this, the issue raised here by others who have the expertise to tell the difference, pointing from the budget and what they are going to do with it, which I'm not going to touch today because I need to look at it properly for myself to understand it. But they have already, shown evidence of even how creatively they are doing it in the budget. But I will read from the text to give it a little bit of clarity. They continue to say this would later be paid as fraudulent arrears claim under the payment of arrears and guarantee under the Minister of Finance control budget entity called Centralized Services, which have been budgeted at about 1.8 billion for next year, 2026. This is what I say. This is what is pointed at the budget. This is what they do. This is creative theft, fraudulent. I hope the opposition stand up and demand the stop of this this disbursement and look closer to it. CD uses this budget line, the sentiment of confirmed arrears under the budget entity Central Services to make fraudulent payments for arrears that do not exist. It's saying that the finance minister is using this budget line called Centralized Services to claim payment of arrears that did not exist. This is what is being reported. Currently, as part of the structural benchmarks and condition for IMF Extended Credit Facility, which is an ICU treatment facility, the IMF has requested a comprehensive audit of all government arrears and that no payment of arrears be made before the conclusion of this audit. The contact said this, that currently as part of the structural benchmarks and conditions for the IMF Extended Credit Facility, which is an ICU treatment facility, the IMF have requested a comprehensive audit for all government arrears and that no payment of arrears be made before the conclusion of the budget that audit exercise. This is what the IMF said. But you know, the IMF can say certain things, but the IMF don't want to lose a client. a client that is convenient in making them, how to call it, realize their objectives. This is why they keep on pushing boundaries until you hear a collapse under the IMF supervision. How many countries have failed under IMF supervision? Let's move on. But, they continue to say, but by 2026, Syndicator wants to give excuse to IMF and order under the pretext of his National Assembly announcement to ensure that this fraud continues to be perpetrated on the public funds. He made this statement preemptively before, and later, 2026, he turned to IMF and said, oh, this has been part of our budget, we have to honor this. We did it on Parliament, we have to honor it. You see how they're playing their games. His budget speech, statement, or announcement of this Arrears was meant to lay the groundwork for this planned diversion of public funds to fund his master plan. The allegations here, which are backed by pointing to the budget announcement, is saying that this is a fraudulent act that this CD is doing with the president and others. But as I said, inshallah, we will publish the entire RITI in 3 articles, because to keep it short, and we'll come back and go in detail in it. This was something that we needed to touch on briefly, but we'll come back to it, and people can follow the articles that we are going to publish on them, which would lead us to the final. It's gone over an hour. The final part of what we promised to deliberate on, and the other bit is to give 20 minutes for anybody who wants to send a question, and we'll try and answer it. This is this is a revelation here. A few days ago, contacts alerted us on the relationship, about the relationship between the president and the chief of staff, MOD KCC, chief of staff and presidential advisor, president affairs minister. You remember that Jammeh did had, when he wanted to build the head of Modu Sabali to be bigger, made Modu Sabali Secretary General of the APRC, presidential advisor, and something else. And Barrow came down this time round, due to the effectiveness of Modu KCC at the Ministry of Works, running the contracts and making sure Barrow get his kickbacks, and he find him very effective in that form for himself, not for the nation. He took him in, brought him into cabinet as President Affairs Minister, and make him the Chief of Staff. In fact, devaluing the Secretary General right now, that's why you don't hear the Secretary General. If I have asked this question, who is the Secretary General today, most Gambians will not answer it. They will not know. I'm telling you, I don't know. I can't remember who the Secretary General is. That's just tell you how more the case is. But he has been the most influencer in cabinet for that matter, because he runs the government business. Not the government business, sorry, Barrow's business and government. And we have seen more cases recently running around the media houses trying to show loyalty, or fighting or making the government case. And this has been pointed to us that it's all because of his falling out with the president. People will ask what they have fallen out from. The president only fall out with someone if his personal interests have been affected. If people are corrupt or doing illegal stuff be insulting or doing anything. For him, if he benefits from it or if he feels satisfaction from it, they are safe with it. The time he removes someone from office, if when they are no more useful for him, not because they are not useful to the people. And giving him that portfolio shows how much he relied on him and how much he trusted him. To the extent, many appointments or recommendations would need his endorsement for it to happen when he was really in good books of the president. But recently, they fell out. Why they fell out is the removal, the illegal removal and forceful removal of the Auditor General. I'm not going to say the former Auditor General. I'm not here to legalize something completely wrong. For now, until the determination of the Supreme Court, and we cannot see any way or how. I know they are maneuvering, and we'll come to that next time, to find a way to get out of this. No. It's clear-cut. The government have technically even admitted they don't have powers to remove him. Now they're trying to make a case that they did not remove him, but he accepted appointment, which they know is a lie. And the center of that lie is Modu case, MOD. When President Barrow realized that the mandate given to the Auditor General office, and it happens that Modi Sise was Modi Sise as the Auditor General had the mandate, had the powers, the authority to discharge. And it happens that he was willing to do his job properly. The audit reports for 2021, 2023, 24, which everybody was asking why audit reports are not coming out. Part of it was the obstacles put before. Lack of cooperations and all this kind of thing, but they diligently worked hard to get everything they needed. Now the president realizing that the only way to stop this is for the compliance of Modu Sise, the Auditor General. Because, as I understand, Modu Sise and Modu Sise, they are not related, but they came from the same region. But they are friends as well. Either they attend the same schools or whatever it is, I am told they are friends. Modu Sise, Modu Sise, gave the impression to the president, this is not going to be a problem. I will invite my friend and we'll talk to him and he will delay the reports, and subsequently, in fact, we might water it down so that it will not be outrageous or that much outrageous, the impact of it. And we will delay it until after the elections. They invited the Auditor General, Modu Sise. They tried to talk him up to take it up. He respectfully pointed to his mandate and the laws that govern his position and his responsibility, that he cannot take part in that because of it will be illegal. The president became furious. Because for Barrow to say no to him, because his belief, the country is his. You can see the way he behaved. Now, the chief of staff, Modu Sise, laid down a strategy. Apparently, the strategy was his own. He laid down, obviously with the support from the Kaaba, that in order to effectively achieve their objectives, they have to apply the strategy. What is the strategy? it was to promote Modusisi, or promise him promotion from the Auditor General's office to the position of the Minister of Trade. And when he gets to the Minister of Trade, down the line, to transfer him out of the ministry in cabinet to the Foreign Service. And Senegal was one of the countries. Sierra Leone was another country they were thinking about. I don't know why Sierra Leone and Senegal. But these were the names of countries they were touting, that if they move him to trade, before he settled in, just get him out to the things, and then his credibility would be undermined. If he tries to whistleblow or anything, people would say, look, it's just about soul fruits, but this guy has no credibility for allowing to be taken from a statutory position to go into cabinet and to the foreign services. Now he has to accept that job and stay there. But you know, Allah protects people with good intent. Hence his intentions were right. When they approach him with the strategy of promotion, they invited him to the State House to meet the president, and the president handed a letter, and that letter to say that I have appointed you. I have appointed you. Obviously, Modusisi did not accept it there. That's not the way to accept. But you have to be respectful, compliment the president, and you have to put that request. Then you have to reply to that. As Modusisi had been friend to Modusisi, apparently, he contacted Modusisi to say that, bro, I'm not going to accept this appointment. I don't want it. I am here. This is where my expertise is. I just want to stay. Hell break loose. At that moment, Modusisi started to run around. So intervene. I think it was on Wednesday before the Friday, the imams, started to run around. The minute they gave him the letter, before he get to his office, in fact, they have put out the announcement. And I can tell you, any minister being appointed, go and ask for their appointment letters. It will state that you have to respond in writing, or senior government officers. Respond in writing to accept or decline this thing. But when he declined verbally to Modusisi, what did Modusisi do? He started to run around. He went and got imams to go and intervene, to talk to Modusisi about, the government, a president giving you something, the hypocrisy. You have to accept it. You have to do this. Respectfully, he said, I'll think about it. I'll give my response. Obviously, you have to then get out of his house. He went on to get politicians, MP or these things, one or the, they do the same thing. Appeal to him, he said, I'll give my response. They took the imams to the parents of Modusisi, the Auditor General, to appeal to the parents, to appeal to their son, take the ministerial position. Just imagine this, take the ministerial position. He said he will respond in writing. When he responds in writing, which is the official means to determine whether he accepted the job or not, give in the letter, the president, because when he said he would, okay, no problems, I'll reply. Modusisi went on to the president and said everything is solved. He's going to write the letter, he's going to accept the job. The letter came, they opened it, he says sorry and give reasons to decline the appointment. President Barrow went beside and blamed Modu KCC for handling this transaction wrong and embarrassing him and the government and now putting them in a difficult position. This is what transpired. Now this is what is in court. Hence, he tried, all this did not work. Now the president blaming him. Modu KCC went on to lie about accepting, shaking hands. This is the same lie that they put in the press. The information minister have repeated that he accepted, they shake hands, that's all lies. And that is not what the court is going to listen to. Where you have the evidence, physical evidence, the letter, this guy did not accept. And if he had accepted, why would he go to office and resist technically or wait to be forcefully removed? Now in law, I'll try and do a program on this. Justice Hassan Jallow wrote the law of evidence. And the law on evidence, something I read even in the Gambia when it just came out, because very proud of a Gambian justice or lawyer writing. And law and evidence have been quoted. I have seen two case laws in Nigeria, in fact, where Justice Hassan Jallow law and evidence quoted on hearsay. And if you go by the book, I'll try and find the wordings itself. In this sense, the hearsay cannot be admissible in a court of law. But the most important part of law of evidence, which is captured in the Hassan Jallow's book, is who Assad proves. You know, there is this debate where people will say, oh, the person who brought out the case would have to prove these things, and the defense, no. There is a moment where the burden of proof twists to the defense. When the defense make a case, they have to provide evidence to support that case. That's why you see in a defense, the defense presenting their case, they provide exhibits, they provide or other evidences, they bring in witness, because they're trying to prove what they have asserted. And if you have asserted something as a statement, in order for a statement to be accepted, you need the evidence as a fact. Now, if the defense said that the Auditor General Motsi have accepted, because they already admit now, and that's the most important part, admit now they have no powers to fire him, then they did not fire, they could not fire him. Now the point is, they are saying, now they are the ones saying, no, we actually promoted him and he accepted it. Now they have to prove, they are the one proving that they have promoted him. I don't know the legal term itself, but something like who Assad proves. They have to provide that evidence. Let me see. I think it's similar to the UDP saying that APRC executive are given administrative positions which were illegal. Now, UDP made their case, but they failed in the presentation of evidence to prove that these people are APRC. Even though we all know they are APRC, but in the court, what the court would accept admissible is what is presented to the court. It's not what people know outside the court. The judges would pretend that they don't know what the people know outside the court. They are going through, they examine the evidence presented. This is why when they say that, you have not shown that this guy are APRC, and everybody went bizarre. How can you say that they are not? That's the law of evidence. You have the way to present evidence. preserve evidence and make sure it's presented. Yeah, there's a procedural way to present evidence. Now, it's for them, not the plaintiff, not AG, the Auditor General. They have to bring a proof that this person have admitted, that have accepted. And the proof can only come, there's no proof stronger than a letter that this person have given to you. And this person, the AG, and the Auditor General, CC, letter, he had a copy, the government will have a copy, and whoever needed to be copied would be copied. Then they cannot do the case of Mama Jabi. Oh, we don't have a copy, the copy is lost. And when they did it with Mama Jabi, you see, because if they were certain that that audio was good enough to be presented, they would have presented it. But what happened was the defense went and produced, find a way of introducing the evidence that the prosecution should have entered. Now, that being the case, now, President, since the case happened, Moduke Sise have been sidelined. And his deputy, because I don't know the deputy, now, what we have been confirmed that we have series of verification, and we confirmed that Moduke Sise will be moved to the Trade Ministry, and eventually he might, let me emphasize, eventually he might be moved to the diplomatic service and keep their cool until he's out of sight, because of he knows a lot. They're still going to move him within cabinet, but subsequently they're going to move him out to this diplomatic service, and he will be called there, and eventually they can forget about him. This is what he has planned for his friend to go through. Now he is the one facing it. Let's come to this. He's the one facing it. Now, what they said is they are unsure whether the president would elevate the deputy chief of staff and president affairs person, who is Aliu Loom. They don't know whether they will elevate his position to give him the minister of president affairs and chief of staff, because remember that position was created for Moduke Sise for his dedication and service to President Barrow corruption. Now, since he was sidelined, President Barrow is directly dealing with the deputy and avoiding Moduke Sise, which is sending Moduke Sise mad, going out there trying to show his loyalty to the president and the government, and sending in their lobbyists to lobby the president to keep him where he is, because it's lucrative, it's powerful, it's influential position, where contracts, he's a gatekeeper and everything goes in, he can get his cut. And they said Aliu Loom, who interestingly have been effectively already playing the role in recent months following the fallout between Moduke Sise and President Barrow, especially with Fatou Mataba Barrow, who used to be the anchor, or when they consolidate everything under Aliu Njai, Secretary to Cabinet and head of the civil service. Okay, Aliu Njai is now then the Secretary General. Now, it's interesting. You see the First Lady's name. The First Lady is a co-president. Now, they're saying that this Mr. Loom, Aliu Loom, have been responsible of this position. And Moduke Sise have been sidelined, and he have been playing that role. Whether now with this fallout, are they going to give him this position, or they're going to put everything back and put it under the cabinet secretary and this and the head of the civil service? They might give it to Modus Amali. He had the experience before. But interesting enough, the people who contacted said something to us. They are worried. They said they are worried that if we publish this article, it will preempt President Barrow's decision, stopping him from acting on the plans and ensuring more the cases and maintain his position without the useful influence he used to have. This is, they say, oh, don't, if you do it, this is what's going to happen. We said this to them. Open Gambia platform insists on publishing the article despite fear that doing so might influence the outcome of the president withdrawing of plans to move the chief of staff. Those decisions are for the president to take, and holding the system accountable is our responsibility. We are not here to babysit the president. If he wants to leave it like that, that's his the thing. We have reported. If he had the courage to go the things, we have reported. To say that he might stop his action to prove us wrong, then he will have to live with a decision he wanted to do and could not do. This is my point of accountability. Then we are holding him to ransom then. We are making him a lame duck, not able to take decisions because we have preempted that decision. We are reporting the accountability for Gambians to understand what's going on. Going through this entire program, what does that tell us? What does that tell us from the central bank, finance minister, to the minister of presidential affairs? The entire MPP government is a cover. On one thing centralized on Barrow and themselves. You see, the difference with Barrow is he allowed them to be wealthy as well. The difference is, if he realizes that you are benefiting, he cuts you off and punishes you and even stick it back from you. That be a business person, that be a minister, or anybody, errand boy, or anything else. You have to even keep it quiet. You have to hide from him. That's why they were benefiting less compared to Barrow. Barrow, you can flex. Because of his weakness, they can do anything. This is why we can see the rapid decline of the government and accountability. He cannot take legal actions. Jammeh would make you even do things, and he would victimize you and take legal action against you, knowing that he benefited, knowing that you will not go to the courts to testify of what you have done for him. Instead, what you do is you run to the extended cabals, religious leaders, opinion leaders, other ministers to look for a day. This is what they say. You have to find the best time for Jammeh. I mean, I don't want to say, but they know how to measure whether he's in a good mood or not. Even the protocol officer will tell you, no, it's not today. Let's wait for this day. They know the day, the time. They know, oh, this week is very bad. Let's not make it. And they come and beg and praise him, beg. Oh, that's our nephew, that's our son, that's my in-law, that's my this. Can you please? We know that he must have made a mistake, or this has been. But we know how good you are, merciful. And Jammeh will ask him to write a letter, and that person would write a letter, praise him, and ask for forgiveness. And they can take him out of mile 2, or they can stop the case. We have seen the Nobin Job, mile 2, when he came back, he became a lamb. Who knows Nobin before? He was kind of a fierce thing, but yeah, came him to become a lamb. And he does everything then once and took him to cabinet. We've seen differences. If you are stubborn like Baba Job, then he will kill you. We've seen it. But with Barrow, you do as you wish, and he's so weak, he can do nothing about it. Guys, if anyone wants to send a question, I can take it before I leave here. We have about 18 minutes, 42 hours whilst I drink this water. If not, I'll just try and close this program now. Inshallah, we'll come back and we'll do the publications and come and deliberate on the orders. And there's another point we could not touch on, and that point is the central bank again. What's his name? Boisedi. How he's going around, you know how he did with the press. He's doing the same thing with Parliament. And this will be the another one we are publishing tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the third series, where they said Section 83 exposes central bank crisis series, institutional capture buying silence with public money. Governor Boisedi must explain why the central bank funded a so-called study tour for the Financial and Public Accounts Committee of the National Assembly to Ghana, even though Parliament have already allocated the 400 million for its own activity in 2025. Why did he pay? You see how they corrupt the system? This is what I say about our National Assembly. Why they always pass our budget with this ridiculous show of trying to restrict. Oh, you cannot have 53 million for mid-retirement, but you can have 50 million. Knowing that even that 50 million would, they will spend it and nothing will come out of it. Rubbish. With all the budget, illegal budget lines within the presidency for forcefully and orders, they let it go. Out of billions, you are trying to reduce 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. Billions that could be saved and redirected to services and investment. But you never say anything. Guess what? Every budget, there's a sweetener. Every budget, there's a sweetener. Every budget, there's a sweetener. Is it true Mordecai's Cisse named his son Mordecai named his son Mordecai Cisse? I'll find out that. I will not be surprised. Apparently, they had a very good relationship. I don't. They come from the same area, but because I used to hear, and I repeated that they were relatives, and someone said no, they just have a very good relationship. They are not from the same village. I might say village, but they are not from the same location, but they come from the same region, and they have been friends since that on or school days and going. But if it is that, if people say that he have named the son after Mordecai Cisse, I won't be surprised. But one thing Mr. Cisse have proven is integrity. That's why those people coming out, sharing this nonsense of padam hunting, if this person was absolutely corrupt as they want to do to tarnish his image, you think he would be out of office by now? You think he would just do what Barrow wants? You think someone would not decide to be corrupt because of taking padams, and you have not even looked at those padams are approved? Did you find out how important those overseas trips are? No. And even compare the amount of time he traveled, compare that to ministers, compare to the other service heads. But no, you just came and brought this out because of what? The government wanted to tarnish this guy's image. You know another thing, he could have gone to the Supreme Court and just seek for compensation and move away. But it's making it difficult for government because he wants accountability. That's why he's asking for the Supreme Court to decide on his removal. He could just ask for this thing and negotiate compensation. It will not even get to the courts. Remember the former central bank governor? He never negotiated for compensation. They compensated, he left. He never went on to fight the government. Never. This is the situation. But with all what we do here, and this course is for people to be informed, and that information should be beneficial. This has proven the level this government goes. 1.2 billion central bank for Bois to do what they want to do, to be given to the president's nephew, and they can use for political projects and whatever it is, and they make well out of it. And we see the behavior of Bois, his lack of humility and his ignorance and stupidity, because of the accountability he could not hold it. Now we have seen the Minister of Finance trying to run out again to do the same thing for Barrow and Ahmad Saleh. That's Barrow's nephew, and for them to have a cut of it. Almost 20 billion. You know, imagine this amount of monies if they were invested in colleges that have capacity, not so-called colleges, capacity to train the youths well. You know the potential of these youths? This government lacked any program for development. The budget is nothing, it's just a repetition of what they do. It's a political budget. Countries that have advanced had programs. When India had their Bangalore project, go and find out how poor India was before the Bangalore project. Go and see how rich India became today for software and anything to do with IT. Go and look at this war, the entire globe. Who competes India? Who competes India? The head of these tech companies, the middle bit, any level of it. Do you think African countries cannot do that? They should be able to do it. Gambia should be able to replicate something. I'm not saying to that level, but even to that level, it's investment. This guy Dembasa is asking, is there any way to get finance minister booted out for misleading the nation and the parliament by the financial committee taking the lead through parliament? Then the point is, if you take him out, you might even get worse than him. Remember, we took Barrow removed Mambure Njai, but Mambure Njai now is an ambassador in Saudi. But what do you have? You have Keta. Keta now is proven to be the worst. What else can you determine who's going to be there? And I am not sure whether Parliament will able to. Parliament is, things that have gone through Parliament, what came out of it? All the parliamentary committees, did we see anything? Even the managing director, they cannot remove. What can they do? It's banal. I think the final solution would be to remove the government legally, democratically, from exercising this legal. That's what I mean. I don't believe in any other way. And it's possible. Barrow is at his weakest. Barrow is more unpopular today than ever. All these projects and everything cannot impact on people's life. It's not done right. And the opposition can make a better case. Opposition does is not to go and build wells or this. No. Articulate your policies and give hope to people you're going to do better. That's every opposition that wins elections. It's through this that they will win elections. The issue about tribalism and everything else can be neutralized through policy and communication. Yes, I agree. All these people should have been arrested, but who would arrest them? When the entire system is cahoot with the NPP. The Inspector General of Police is in the farm. It's the brother-in-law of the president. The president's family, they all become a millionaire after the president becomes a president. The nephews and sons, so forth. Jaga have eloped to Europe or somewhere with 500 million. apparently 500, I mean, some millions actually, he can account for after Barrow gave him access to the funds. Thank you very much, guys, and we have a good evening.
That's exactly what I say. Arboy, ka yow tàngal nga fi ba pare suma
ok am nga tàngal xam nga man nuyu naa leen ñi ma fekkaat si plateforme bi xam nga li ma doon ñu bari dañ ma si fekka man waxuma ne ni koo gis Gambia am na nit
right
waaye dooy def politics it's a different dynamic ànd naa Ñang Njaay Amadou Kurang dem na doy it doesn't mean ne dafa am ideology doy moo tax mu dem fa because dara soo ko join dafa am lu la day motivate wala dang day am sa own personal reasons and I think Mamadou Kurang this decision is just personal rating. I'm not saying that he went to UDP for a political refuge and I'm not saying that okay dama ne Mamadou Kurang nit ki su nekkee ne dangal nekk politician and you are a real politician nga want to add a value in that political party bi nga join danga war am that kind of followers ñoo xam ne ñii they can impact where you are going. Amadou Kura munta yoka even 0.9% in UDP because man dama de nit ñi di wane ay followers ñoom mel di wa ay followers am na ñu ko dee commental yes ñu ko dee commental yëpp they are UDP or they are Sobeya people even that does not agree with the government. Su nekkee ne yow sa social media post yi moo laa nax lu tax demuloo taxaw parliamentarian fi nga jóge bu dee ne am na followers yi lu tax bi nga def endorsement bi demuloo def ko sa dëkka bu dee ne am nga followers laa lu tax bi nga endorse UDP demuloo def press conference bi in Nyamina why you choose Bakaw you are not Bakaw
ado doguma la waaye ñun rek ñoo dee wax ne lu tax wénuloo sa dëkk waaye si dëkk ñun su fi nekk ne ñu ngi expérience ne ñu si bëri duñ dee win seen hometown
even waaw loolu la wani ma ne politique Gambia moo demee noonu mooy lu ñang di explain nit ki dang dee dem nekk fi nga bugga li fi nii rek soo ko seetee ba seet ko doo isi dara si parti bi na ngaa njëriñoo rek sa njëriñ rek moo la fa yóbbu dafa ute ñoo xam ne ñii dañ gis parti bi gom parti bi di liggéey si biir parti bi di defal parti bi di dee si parti bi Mamadou Kurang mu ngi woon doy doo si expect to be the leader of doy if that was his motivation then Mamadou Kurang Halifa wax na ko in that even debate mu ne ko then you are in a wrong place Halifa daf ko wax si ay Africa mu ne ko then you are in a wrong place bu nekkee da nga foog ne li nga bëgg a doxal sama ni mooy dox yu doy mu ne ko then you are in a wrong place mu su demee UDP Mamadou Kurang ok chartered accountant la lu Ñang Njaay wax ñu bari jar nañ ci loxom pour jànga does that mean that these people they are your followers no they are not your followers yow business moo leen boole ñoom dañ bëggoon am xam-xam ñu fay la nga jàngal leen wala sa julof tuuti si jàngal leen su passé loolu noonu is done.
Well, otherwise, there are people that look up to their teachers or nit ñi nga xam ne dañ def a positive impact in their lives as a role model.
Waa loolu dafa nekk in Western politics. Loolu Western politics lañ ko dee gis most of the time.
No, even Africa. Like
bariwul. Naam.
Man, I know Mamadou Kurang personally. Jabaram suma classmate la. Mamadou Kurang, when you go to Kudang, xam nga tamit nit ki soo ko xamul dang ko ne hey. Waaye su fekkee ne xam nga Mamadou Kurang and his social orientation, he has following at least fi nga xam ne soso nafa, which is the Kudang area, the Marianas, the Ceases. He is someone ko xam ne definitely waxuma ne am na ndiirande waaye am na nit. Wow. So duma ko discount.
Kon amul ndiran ñu use language bi amul ndiran.
No man dama qualify mane waxuma ne ndiran la am waaye am na nit, meaning he has backing. It may not be national, it can be regional, waaye am na backing because his social orientation is good on both sides of his family. Si side jabaram, ci side am. So yes, does he have value to add to the bottom line. Yes. How significant is that value? That can be debated by the political operatives. I'm not one. Why lima buga wax moy? I think as an individual, he meant well for the Gambia from the onset, even before politics. But something over time has shrouded his judgment because emotions have gotten so much into some of the decisions that he take erratically on social media. And lolu tahna henya nit diko gise nenen because he is bringing the person and personal issues into the public space and public life. Lolu, anyone could call advice right now, you will tell him the past is the past, you cannot change it, but going forward, if you can reduce such things and worry more about other things, you may be impactful. And politics need a political party. Do they say na ki amna so much or amut so much? Anyone kubuga nyosio with a minimum vetting of aligning values, you tend to bring them. Even if 10 votes it's substantial because aggregate more matter in politics. They sweep party be winning. Amku in the 10,000, Amku in the 2,000, Amku in the 9. At the end of the day, party be more win, nyep nyo contribute.
And okay. Hamga man limawa. Ñu bari hiñ understand wala deglu ñu ba. Li ngeen wa mun amna political weight. You tell me somebody who have political weight cannot even challenge for parliamentarianship in his own community.
I'm not saying that. Man lima wax moy.
Wa xam nga ni ku nekk ñang no ku ne dam xam nga man don waj okay nga interject which is nice because political discussion la. Wa lima wax moy ni ku am followers la wa. And you have followers in your community. Last elections, Wama Khalifa Saleh nyata la am nyamina.
I think you lack understanding. You lack the basic understanding of
example.
It doesn't necessarily mean man dama joge nyomi. So people of nyomi should follow me. It doesn't happen like that.
Exactly.
No, listen. No, Adu, listen. Man, I am originally from Nyomi, but it doesn't necessarily mean the people of Nyomi will follow me or know me. I live in Kotu here. Many people that knows me, that I interacted with, that can impacted meaningfully in my life are from Combo here. But probably if I want to stand as a National Assembly member, I can do it in Nyomi. That means I have to go back there. But if I go there, I will struggle a lot because many people who have voted there don't even know me. But if I do it in Combo here, most of the people in Kotu Suwareh here, they knew me. People around Latrikunda, they knew me. People in Manjai, they knew me. You understand?
I will take myself. Adu, I will take myself. Adu, jël suma bopa as an example. I will just use one aspect of social media. You're talking about influence. Do I have political influence? I will say 0. Why smart hawante social media? Then I have 50,000 people know what I do. What do Sumabwana how politics? Will they support me? Most likely the answer is no. Why soon I'm on problem with government or an institution? Who will they want to call? Maybe me. So what I represent to those people is still influence, but it may not be the type of influence that they will want me to be an MP.
Man bete lima wa moy. Bude ne Mama de Kurang. Hamga Mama de Kurang tay. Bu nekone influence bi ngeen wax loolu la am. Or even NPP will sought for his endorsement. UDP never sought for the endorsement of Mama de Kurang. Mama de Kurang dafa dem doy. Bu ñoo def political analysis. And you know Nyang what I'm saying. Budene, you are an influencer. I think your community will be your number 1 base as an influencer in politics. What must a daily life linga def de? Dama ne su nekkee ne danga bëgg a nekk an influencer in in politics da nga wara ñika am base bi nga bagé né ak heavyweight political parties. If you don't have that, you might have followers. Yes, social media bi ku binda ñu comment ay 1000 ay 2000 ay 3000 demal nga taxaw election nga set ndax yow ñu la doon commental 3000 bo non ndax dinañ la votal.
Exactly. That's the point I'm making.
Okay, wa dama ne Mama de Kurang indication Mama de Kurang la min mom political giant bu mbuga woné bopam la wax ci political space bu nekk tay he could not add anything to doy in 2021.
Adu boy mu nañu
wa haral ma jekal suma wa ca demal waxal waaw
am nga nit tamit su jëlé action dem fenen ñun ñëpp dañu wara nangu dara man lima wax luma xam la te xamna ne Kurang def na ko man PDOIS la boko 100% liñu oté la gum Kurang yaa ngi wax affaire last election bi ñamina Kurang amna fofu over 1000 votes amna ko fofu amna yeneen area ci biir Gambia even ñun bu ñoo dem to sax ñun bu ñoo dem to fekk na Kurang dem na wóor na dëkk bi ñaari yoon waxtaan ak nit ñi so yaaran deya ci biir Gambia Kurang amna tuuti loo xam ne nii comme li fi Mr Ndiaye wax léegi nii am na ñu jaar ci loxom tamit jàng fa loolu moo tax ma ne Kurang ñi ko toppa ndax xeex bi mu doon xeex lim doon gomloo gaay yi ñooñu loolu lañ jënd ci moom mooy ne lan NPP ak UDP baaxuñ ci dëkk bi loolu la doon jaay gaay léegi moom dem na UDP léegi ndax nit ñooñu toppoon ko moom Kurang lañ toppa wala li Kurang doon wax moom la gaay gom ba tax ñu ñëw ànd ak moom ma ne loolu nag foog ñu jox ko time tuuti pour loolu mu mën a leer waaye for now mënuñoo wax ne Kurang mënut a yokk ci UDP am nañu ko gëm am na ñoo xam ne not only ci boori Ñaamina all around the country Kurang dafa woon ñaari yoon balaa last election te am na youth for change boo xam ne tamit taxawaloon na ko am na fa ay nit ñoo xam ne even su fekkee ne bari wuñu sax ñooñu noonu ñu ngi woon ci gannaawam ndax ñooñu noonu tamit baax nañ ko ci décision bi nga xam ne def na ko jël na ko loolu noonu yëpp lu ñu war a considérer man lii laa gis ci waxtaan bi waaye bu ñu wax ne mënta def lii so let's just do via politics ñu wis ko wel loolu la gis loolu foofu la dem ñu toog ñu seetaan
waaw for sure waaye man ñang dama la laajte Mama Kandeh exemple du it binda lu bari ci internet bi te su waxee ñu bari duñ ko follow du dëgga xam ndañ ñang mu ma dégga Jobis Mama Kandeh duy binda lu bari online wala duy comment lu bari online waaye even su commenté sax xëy na comment tamit duñ am 20,000 wala 10,000 living post. What would you rather take? Endorsement of Mama de Kurang or endorsement of Mama Kandeh in politics?
Man, endorsement of Mama Kandeh la jël.
Thank you very much.
Xam naa ne maa nga ñëw rek xam nga yow fi nga ko natee aadu foofu la affaire bi egut xam nga foog ñu njëkk a understand ne Gambia ñun suñu electoral système bi ku la rawee benn vote sax moo la win aadu
dëgg la
Kurang lu mu bon lu mu la sax na sax Kurang mun na moo isi UDP 50 wala 100 votes
waaw ok nangu naa loolu
ñun am na lu moo mën a yokka
Jobis naanal kafi
non gis nga xam nga ñun Gambia politique dañ ko dee caaxaane politique du affaire yi caaxaan ñi nga boo nekkee ci politique du yëfi caaxaan ñi nga politique soo si nekkee danga dem bem jeex especially su nekkee danga nekk ci parti bul xool parti bi luñ laa defal bul xool loo bugga ci parti bi liggéeyal parti bi ba parti bi recognize na ni kii digga jàmbaar la wala nga form parti nga nekk ci di liggéey di dem nga gom li nga gom waaye yow saa yu moom buggee ñëw rek tey mun naa wax ne Mamadi Kurang 1000 votes soo defee political analysis 1000 votes Adama Barrow lu mu lawee opposition bi yëpp dem na almost 200,000 votes xam nga 100,000 votes
waaye Adu yow soo amee 100 nit yow soo amee 100 nit nit ñooñu ku nekk mun laa ci 100 votes li nga am dara di
déedéet political landscape boobu noonu moo amoon Gambia
non dama la amoo sa feedu kurang lay nekka
waaw
te am na yeneen nit yu nekk biir Gambia ñoo xam ne amee nañ seen ay compine ñii ay 50 nit ñii ay 100 nit si biir compine bi su ñëpp demoon dem bokk feena ku nekk jël sa doole sotti ko si loolu dara la moo nekka
waaw loolu su nekkee loolu nga waxee ka loolu mun naa nekk dara
Ado, sorry, the thing is, you fail to understand moi kurang bude mom kena sa. It's only him that mom kena vote am rekata pour New Guinea Adama Barrow, understand nga? It worth it. Yang understand because one vote rek system mel tun la lead by one vote rek danga gina, understand nga? So kurang either mom isina nit wala isi would nit sa man lulu sa duma ko de consider. Because man comme lu man jiko na wa njëlbeen mooy dama believe ne Quran dafa dem for a reason nekkul ne dafa dem just for position or whatever, understand nga? Because ñun dañ need change man lu ma dee xool ne like comme ñoom Quran and I don't want to blame any political leader anymore because opposition yi dañ wara sigil, understand nga, check lan mooy naka la ñoo ñëwee together pour fight Barrow pour mu génna ñun benn problème rek lañ am suñ problème mooy président Barrow whether we like it or not but system bi nu mu nekk di demee xam naa ne yow you are fully you are NPP or whatever
du loolu sax
man suma belief lay wax
Jamal xam nga lan mooy seen problème yéen nit yow ni ngeen di xalaate politiciens yi xalaate wuñ noonu politiciens yi number one dañoo xalaat man ndax dama join benn parti pour génnee benn nit then after man suma political party bi du existaat in Gambian dynamics so dama join nit pour génnee benn nit after man ma jeexal ci because politics dara garanti wut la
well budé
ñoom ngi neena politique xaaral ma dimbale la ngi na politique nit ñi political leaders xalaate wuñ noonu sax yéen pour yéen everything mooy génne Adama Barrow te Adama Barrow yéen join leen ngeen seet dem leen benn say ngeen ñëw ngeen face ñun loolu lañ bugga
waaw Adu boy man understand na fooy way xam nga man li ma
rek Jamal xaaral gis nga tey exemple tey Mama Kandeh mu join UDP number one UDP duñ ko jox vice président number two suñ ko jox ministre la bu yàggee ñu génnee ko parti bi ñu rey ko Essa Faal su joinee UDP dinañ ko jox ministre of justice su yàggee ñu génnee ko ñu isi seen nit parti bi du contestat du am base du am dara dañ koo rey UDP moo nekk di mbaxam ma ko ngir politique de Gambien yi dañ joinoon pour génnee benn nit yi di same Gambien ñooy ñëwaat di xeexaat pour génnee benn nit politique boobu noonu moo war a génn Gambia politique boobu noonu doxut Jamal li ngeen a xalaat doxut dama bëgg ngeen génn foofu noonu
non da nga
Adama Barrow mooy suñu problème naka la Adama Barrow nekk suñu problème ñun suñu problème yéen ni ngeen a xalaatee pour ngeen change ko nit ñi Gambia ñu mun koo liggéey mu dem ci kanam
li ma loolu moo fi ses nag Adu boy
ok loolu moo fi ses yow loolu moo ses si yow
Adu boy
leen ngeen seet boo leen joinee ñu dañ leen tëral leen si suuf join
Adu boy nee na la understand jobis man fu ma waxee mooy gis nga moom lu moo wax ni dëgg la
acca ñëw leen ñu leen a
Jamal ne ko laaj benn question comme que léegi moom si nombos la moo compté léegi Adu boy So fekkee ne yow si nomba nga compté.
Waaw.
Léegi Sabally ak Kurang koy jël.
Man pour man Sabally is more influential than Kurang. Suma jël dama xol suma stability party njëkk.
Adu boy da nga ne si nomba nga compté loolu nga fi nekk di joxe exemple boobu ba léegi.
Waaw.
Mama Kandeh ak kii. waaye dama ne. su fekkee ne si nomba nga compté. ma laaj ne Sabally ak Kurang koy jël. Kurang dem na élection.
Dem na élection ñaata la am?
Am na over 1000 votes.
Over 1000 votes la am. The whole Gambia. The whole Gambia over 1000 votes la am.
No. MP la def. MP la dem. MP la dem.
Mu dem Ñamina. Ok. 1000 votes.
Waaw léegi Sabally foo ko natee.
Sabally suñ ko terewtu na taxaw mu taxaw Busumba la nga seen du am. Suñ ko terewu na taxaw.
No,
taxaw Busumba la nga seen la doon am.
Man nekkuma MPP. Waaye li ngeen bëgg a def aadu mooy ne Sabally su fekkee ne gars yi dañ ko bàyyoon mu taxaw moo doon wii noon na already sax.
Ay.
Mooy dëgg man musuma ko support na dama koy against always musuma ko because du wax dëgg loolu moo tax musuma ko support waaye su fekkee ne taxawoon na mooy ne wii noon na élection bi loolu moo tax gars yi bañ pour mu taxaw. li mooy dëgg
maa fi jamali nii. ñoom ñu ci politique.
gis nga ñoom li ngeen nekk di xeex
ñu xalaat benn nit.
li ngeen
Adu boy xam nga li problème bi benn nit boobu noonu.
gis nga ñi li ñu nekk di xeex ñun xeexuñu loolu. mooy ne
very good.
Adama Barrow na dem rek no we are not fighting for that. Adama Barrow na dem rek lii la ñu fight Yaya Jammeh na dem rek ñu dugga ci lii.
Mr Jallow
ñun na fightu ñu Adama Barrow na dem rek.
Mr Jallow xam nga lu nekk dafa am reason lu tax ñu ko fight. The reason why ñu fight Adama Barrow dafa am genuine reason yoo xamante ne moo tax tey Gambian bu nekk war naa mun a toog. may ma rek Jallow may ma rek Adu boy lu moo wax is the fact any political party fu mu nekk ñoom political party leaders yi nii comme opposition leaders yi ku nekk mu ngi xool comme li ngay wax kii nii Mama Kandeh du dem join UDP because dina wax ne su fa demee xëj na lu moo lifin party am bi dina dee ak yooyu noonu gis nga fu mu toll nii ñun loolu lañ soxlaatul Gambia. The reason why Gambia fu mu toll Adama Barrow dafa comme Gambia nu mu ko nekk di gérer moo correctul in any ways so yow soo fi toogee tey nga ne loolu daf la comme loolu you are fine with that then man dama wax ne yow you are not comme yow you doo real Gambia because for real Gambia lan moo tax ñun tey lan moo tax tey ñu war a fiil ne non may ma rek Adu boy lan moo tax tey ñu war a fiil ne Gambian bu nekk mu war a gis boppam Gambian la understand nga fiil ne like moom dafa juddoo Gambia munal boppam Gambia mun a def lu nekk Gambia loolu lañ amut ci njiiti Adama Barrow bu doon loolu dañ ko amoon kenn du toog di jéem a puusantul ak yow.
Life bi mu ngi shake. I'm not
bi nga sa xalaat bi nga xalaat.
Adu boy yow yaa ngi nekk fii nii bor bu set nga wax yow musuloo may kenn gift.
Adama Barrow munut koo met then he's not fit for a purpose understand nga man suma wax bi yëpp foofu la
yow ku la dégg ngay wax
te Adama Barrow
amul dara lu Adama Barrow su doon wàcce asamaan si sax di nga ne Adama Barrow deful dara.
No because Adama Barrow no defut ko sax bu ko defoon sax ni ko dañ ko admit but defut ko.
Jamal ma laaj benn
ma tontu ko waay. Xaaral taxawal. Gis nga Jamal gis nga li ngay wax noonu dafa mel ni parti yëpp dañu war a dem ci UDP.
waaw because UDP stand a better chance.
Xaaral pour ñu génnee Adama Barrow. fu fekkee ne dañ bugg a Adama Barrow dem. yow loolu nga wax.
man suma
yéegoo nga wax ko after nga dem.
waaw
mooy ne parti suñu buggee Adama Barrow dem dañu war a dem ñu join UDP.
waaw
loolu dafa jeex Gambia. gis nga problème bu ngay xeex nii UDP moo ko indi Gambia.
hold on loolu jeexut de xam nga lu tax loolu jeexut Jallow parce que parti yu ndaw yi nii wala political party yi nekk foofu noonu dañ united understand nga so Gambian system bu nekk Gambia any political party opposition yi duñ mun a win comme incumbent bi possible. So the only chance we know am money kane pour ñu dem rally behind UDP. And that's the fact. Barrow, that's the only chance that we had to Guinea Barrow. The reason being is like
Haran matontola mantam na yaga nga di wax gis nga problème bu ngay wax noonu ak problème li nga wax yang ko fees tey UDP moko indi Gambia because UDP ñoom dañu ñëw ñu fekk coalition ñu bañ coalition bi understand nga ñu bugga def jamfa pour ñoom ñu ñëw ci power bi lii moo fees Barrow gis ko ak ta ñeneen ñoo xam ne ñu ngi woon against Barrow sax ñoom ñu gis ko Barrow dem ci
despite everything that happens Jallo understand na loolu yëpp Jallo ñun Gambia ni dofuñ Jallo understand nañ loolu yëpp waaye xam nga ban problème lañ am man li ma wa aadu boy mooy problème Barrow lañ am man loolu moo ma sonal man Barrow moo ma sonal yaa ngi understand man UDP luñ def
am nga problème fa la war a am xara ma wax yow tam
déglu ma rek Jallo may ma rek Jallo
yaa ngi dog because yow yàgg nga wax ak aadu man maa ngi noppi
waa Jallo yow looy wax understand naa sa point bi UDP luñ def ni yëpp Gambians yi dañ war a toog ñu kick ko aside understand xam nga lu tax ñu koo kick
you can't do that
xam nga lu tax ñu koo kick Jallo may ma rek ma jox la point lu tax reason bu tax ma ne dañ koo kick tey UDP musuñoo nekk office musuñoo toog office musuñoo dem office anyway amoon nañ déedéet UDP as a party la coalition la it's not
Gambia ñu ko
man I'm not a fan of UDP déglu leen ma
you are a real UDP
déglu ma rek man I'm never UDP déglu ma rek
Jamal li nga wax yëpp xaaral benn question da mu jeexal wax bi
yeah
Jamal da nga bëgg a dem rooti si benn 10 right 10 bi is 5 meters yow sa buum bi is 3 meters long léegi Jallo mu ñëw mu indi extra 2 meters be. Is Jallo's 2 meters equally important as your 3 meters? While I was a 3 meter be more gonna important.
Okay, good. Maton Talachina.
No,
equally Jallo mom 2 meter boom at 3 meter be. It's fine, but anyway, man, Marco gain at some point. Understand?
Why, yo? If you do not have everything you need to win, then yo, there is no second place in Gambia. Is you win all or you lose all. That's the thing. That's our political arena in Gambia. So Jallo limo indi, yo, whether you're yanko help or not is influential because to go Jallo indi wuton, yo do win. You catch my drift.
Yeah, I understand that point, but man, lima wa moy fufu it's somehow like come Gambians, you know what? Anyway, nini dinde gis bena gis understand? Man, suma point, suma problem yep. It's about do dekabi de me land mota you take Adama Barrow fufu
UDP
mishandled anyhow. Jallo may ma rek lan mo tax ñu
UDP mo tax mu teg bu laaj kat lan lu tax mu teg Adama Barrow mooy UDP dégg nañ vidéo yëpp ñu ne ko UDP moo tax ñu teg Adama Barrow su duggee yaa jàmme dem Adama Barrow su
Jallo yow I understand da nga ama problème UDP man
no problème ak UDP because lu def loolu laa d'accord.
But man, at this point, believe now the UDP should have chance that because we have Adama Barrow is our problem.
Two-time chance. Ma jox la two-time chance. Yow musuloo ma jox benn chance.
Tontu si affaire boom bi 3 meter 2 meter bi foofu laa bëgg na tontu.